Welcome everybody to our June reading, the beautiful, where's that?
I blocked you up.
I really have to
Why did she do that?
say something about Hart Brody, who does our posters. They're just lovely, without exception. You know, like this one for the art show. A little bit too pink for my taste, but that's me, not the artwork. But this one is, I mean, it's summertime, right? It's either the moon the sun rising or setting. Anyway, so.
When the living is easy.
What?
When the living is easy.
Yes. Setting or rising? So to start off,
So red.
Really cool. No?
Yeah, it was really amazing.
since I talked about pink so much, I like to write what's called song poetry, which is poetry set to music, lieder, or art music. And this is a kind of new one, so you're my first hearer, so to speak. And it's called Beautiful Blues. Beautiful blues is music of my heart. The overhead sky, the one above the cloud. It is the light shining in your eyes. Beautiful blues are warm waves gently rocking me in a tropical sea. Beautiful blue is the horizon of infinite possibility. Beautiful blues are poems written by rivulets of tears pouring down my cheeks. Beautiful blues are crocuses fighting their way out of a weary winter into spring. Beautiful blues. Thank you. So, 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. Let's count the bananas again and once more. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. Let's count the bananas again once more. Let's find a very special door, open it up, take a peek, then we shall go explore. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. Are you curious? Do you care? Would you take a simple dare? Dare to read, dare to opine, dare to peel the banana and then dine. Do you like poetic rhyme? We could do it once more, or not. Okay, so this is a true story. How I got to smoke Brian Wilson's herbs. Hollywood, 1966. A young tourist, wannabe performer comes from Toronto. She thinks of herself as little Mary Sunshine and goes about doing all the things teenagers were supposed to be into at that time, like visiting 16 magazine, going to the Forest Lawn Cemetery, Disneyland, the beach, Knott's Berry Farm, the Hollywood Bowl, et al. And not to be dismissed lightly, an audition for The Dating Game. It was a TV show. In the green room, another young woman came up to me to ask for directions. Did I know how to get to such and such? No, I didn't. I said I was from Toronto. She said, so am I. What are the chances? She grew up at Markham and Dundas West, and I lived 1 block over at Palmerston. We became quite friendly, and she invited me to her home in the Hollywood Hills. Her boyfriend was a musician with the band The Association, Cherish is the word, yeah. And they were going on tour with the Beach Boys. She was asked to hold Brian Wilson's herb. After dinner, she asked if I'd like to try some. I said I'd never done it before. As she was very persuasive and I was very curious, I tried it and really got into staring at the flames of the fireplace. Soon it was time to leave. I was living on the infamous Wonderland Trail, and we had to drive through the hills. En route, a deer crossed our path. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I felt responsible, able to view my world in a different perspective, and humbled. I was imbibing God's gift to a world not known for valuing that for which it is given. Thank you, Brian, for that, for trusting this woman, and for your wonderful music. Brian, rest in power, Brian. While walking on fresh grass, a sparkle caught my eye. Maybe it was a dewdrop catching the sun's rays. Maybe it's like the myth that crows gleam towards shiny objects. I too hone in on those special rays looking for an omen. I bent to see if it was dew, but it was a shiny dime. Feeling further, I found a quarter, then a nickel, then another quarter. Truly a mystical oracle. I helped a friend deliver clothes in the park, then met another who invited me to lunch at a community picnic. After lunch we talked, and I needed to tell her lawyer boyfriend that she recommended to do my will took my money, cashed my check, and did nothing for 2.5 years. Finally, I absolved him of any duty to me and asked for my money back. Nothing. Then the conundrum began. Do I tell my friend and risk the friendship, or do I remain silent? I chose silence until today. After unburdening my soul and relieving my heart's pressure, she said she would speak with him and not to worry about the friendship. She said, "You are a better friend to me." With tears in my eyes and a heart so much lighter, I went to find the washroom. If this is a gift from the crows, it is invaluable. Okay. Okay, I'll just do about 3 short ones, I think. So this is a part of our history that not very many people know about. Chloe Cooley. Does anybody know who Chloe Cooley was? Yeah, and she was on one of our stamps. Anyway, so Chloe Cooley is her name. Chloe Cooley's significance unnoticed by fame, but Chloe Cooley made history. Her story changed the laws of Canadian slavery. Because of Chloe Cooley, Canadian slavery came to an end. Her story was something no one could portend. Sold like chattel and property without a quiver, she was sold across the Niagara River. Fortunately witnessed and then reported by Peter Martin, a black loyalist, this was a story he couldn't resist. Told to Lieutenant Governor John Graves Simcoe on the sale of this human cargo. So, to pass the act, no turning back, time to pass, the act to limit slavery, Upper Canada, 1793. The act was passed within a year, stoking the flames of some people's fear, setting up legislature on this land, the first and only act the British colonies had at hand. This limited slavery, done with patience, fortitude, and a lot of bravery, until full abolition was passed in 1834. Truly a human condition that only some people abhor, yet this was a victory galore. Back to Chloe Cooley, fearless, peerless. It's time to honor her with gratitude and fame. We've learned a little of what encompasses this name, Chloe Cooley. It is our duty to say her name. Chloe Cooley. So, for the teachers in this room, and I bet each one of us is a teacher in this room, a master class to unlocking many doors. For me, education is a master key to unlocking many doors. The doors of socialization, the windows of curiosity, the portico to philosophical and spiritual adventure, the peephole into intimacies, the means of self-betterment, the entranceway to the future, the avenue of understanding, the entrance into the realms of possibility, and the way to live a life fulfilled. Education, invaluable. So, food, the first step to enlightenment. We are what we eat. Do you believe that? It's a great question, a big question, an important concept. I'm a vegetarian who respects meat eaters, even though the smell of cooking meat makes me nauseous. Animals and other respect-worthy beings give their lives so that we, humans, can eat. When lonely, people eat. When bored, people eat. When seeking truth or enlightenment from suffering, people eat. When celebrating, people eat. Food is spiritual fulfillment. Food sustains us as well as offering a way of reaching out to others. Some people eat with the nutritional awareness that foodstuffs have different caloric content. Some people just eat junk food because it satisfies a taste, a craving. People cook, present, serve, and eat food creatively. One of my favorite food stories is told by the Jewish sage Rebbe Levi Yitzchak Berditchev. It is a story of heaven and hell. A group of people sit around a large bowl of soup, but they can't eat it because the only spoons they have are extraordinary ones with immensely long handles that can't be touched anywhere except near the handle's end. The people try every possible contortion to empty the soup into their mouths, but the handles are just too long. All they can accomplish is spilling the soup everywhere. They are slowly starving to death, tantalized by the aroma. It is a form of hell. Insatiable hunger, a growing, constant gnawing for fulfillment. There is also another group of people with the same bowl and the same spoons, but these people are well-fed and happy. They're not even trying to feed themselves. They use the long-handled spoons to feed each other. In hell, everyone is starving for fulfillment. Contrasted to hell is heaven. In heaven, people sit together for a meal at a long table with enormous spoons where everyone uses his long spoon to feed the person across from him. Hell is where people are self-absorbed. Heaven is where people look out for one another. Cultivating kindness is central to Judaism. The Talmud says that the axiom, love your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus, is the fundamental principle of the Torah. Raising a mensch means more than training your kids to say please and thank you. Being a mensch means nurturing the divine image within our children. Instilling the trait of kindness is one of the primary ways of being. Kindness is the essential presence of mutual giving and receiving. Acts of kindness, even when they stem from less than the best of motivations or intentions, help people internalize the trait of compassion, developing into true givers. Yiddish, the mensch is the Yiddish word for a person, but its deeper meaning is of a person held in high regard. And finally, so also part of my love for Canada and what whatever that means to us, in this case to me. An ode to our beloved trilliums. Just when I needed to see a friend, you appeared, like a spring omen. 3 broad leaves, 3 small green sepals, 3 sectioned seed pods, and 3 petals, with welcoming outstretched arms, standing tall, even in the shade. Planted overseas, your noble demeanor is a gesture of remembrance of deceased Canadian soldiers during World War I. Chosen to represent me, an Ontarian, all Ontarians, you became our provincial floral symbol. We don't pick you when we forage, for we know in springtime you have only a few short weeks to suck up enough sunlight and nutrients to sustain you for the rest of the year. That's why we love you. Like you, we are native to northeastern America. We see ourselves in you, drinking in the sunlight and nutrients to survive. We know our relatives, the deer, love munching on you. You give them sustenance as well. We are all connected and interconnected. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you, Phil, for inviting me. And our next reader is, the wonderful, I don't know how, I call her Vicki, Victoria Lidia Ilgacs. Once upon a time, when we were at the gallery in Kensington Market, Vicki and I were leaving at the same time, and she asked if she could take my picture, which became the back of one of my favorite chapbooks ever. I'm so grateful to you for this and for including your photo in something that is so precious to me. She's a photographer, a writer, an organizer, a friend to many people, a lover of music, a poet, a person with great insight, and I'm so glad to say, welcome, Vicki, take your stance.
Thanks. I also have imposter syndrome, so I have
You
none
what?
of those things either.
You what?
I have imposter syndrome, so it's like I have none of those things. I really don't do photography. I really don't write poetry. I'm not very good at anything, so. But you look mystified. That's how I feel sometimes, actually. But anyway,
I
so
can
I'll start
relate.
off with, I was just going to mention that in lieu of applause between each piece, if we could just be silent, think about what I just, because it's a lot to absorb when you do poetry. And that in the brief silence, if you could just give some thought to what the words, and if you have any questions or thoughts to give back to me, it's quite welcome as well. The first piece I want to do is actually, I've been writing stories, like life stories, in bits and pieces. So this is actually a picture of myself, my godmother, my godfather, my brother, and the christening gown. Can you see that okay? She made that for me. So this is a story about that. It's called Christening Gown. This christening gown was made by my godmother, Janina. She was a kind and generous woman, and I loved her very much. She will always signify the calm eye in the midst of the storm that was my family. I think that's why I keep the gown all these years, to remember. I actually still have it. It's 71 years old. I can't believe it. Looking at the picture of my godmother holding me, I think of how thoughtful it was for her to make me such a beautiful thing for such a special day. At Easter, she would send me a chocolate bunny with pastel-colored candy eyes and swirly decorations all over. I still admire remember the contrast of the candy colors against the color of the chocolate, dark chocolate. I would stand back and admire the rabbit through the tall, clear plastic box. The rabbit was so big, it would reach to my waist. And of course I was little, so that was still a big rabbit. Somehow I managed to eat the whole thing, usually starting with the ears and working my way down. Yanina was a wonderful baker, could sew beautifully, and had a sweet, light spirit. My mom said she was very good to our family. At some point, she moved to Toronto to be closer to her sister, and over time, she visited us less and less. On one occasion, we piled into the car to drive to Toronto to visit her. My mom said she was in hospital because she had a broken heart. I didn't understand what she meant by that. When we arrived, we drove up University Avenue to Toronto General Hospital where she had been admitted. I remember being in awe of that big wide street. It is quite ironic that after I moved to Toronto in my early 20s and having lived many places, I ended up finding my home of 40 years just a couple of blocks away from that big wide street. Once we reached the hospital, I was not allowed to see my godmother, as children were not allowed in that area. Over the years, after she passed away, I asked my mom what she meant when she said that my godmother was dying of a broken heart. She said that Yanina's husband had been unfaithful and that had devastated her. I now realize that the area of the hospital my godmother was in was probably the psychiatric ward, and that's why I wasn't allowed to see her. She died when I was 7 years old. I have missed her and thought of her often over the years. If you clap accidentally, I'll forgive you. I have another dress that I kept. I have a picture, but it's not a very good one. And it is my communion dress. So, obviously, this one is called communion dress. When I was a child, my parents sent me to church on Sundays. They only went at Easter and Christmas themselves, which I don't understand. Church never agreed with me. I was anemic as a child and fared poorly doing the sit, stand, kneel during the 1 hour service. I could never sustain the kneeling without leaning my backside on the pew for support and was always chastised for it. It felt like a punishment. Kind of reminds me of the times when I got punished at home. My mom would make me painfully kneel in the corner on the linoleum, back straight, without sitting on my haunches. The only other occasion my parents went to church was First Communion, which is apparently a ritual that is supposed to connect you more closely with Christ. At such a young age, I had a very disconcerting thought that they were marrying me off to God. I sort of jokingly thought through the years that that was why I remain unmarried to this day. The day before confirmation, First Communion, I had to go to church to confess my sins. The morning of the sanctified event, we were not allowed to eat anything before taking the host, if anybody knows about Catholic Church. As I mentioned earlier, I was anemic, and not being allowed to, since the night before and the morning of, to sit through a 2.5 hour service made me feel rather nauseous and woozy. I should have felt like I was connecting with Heavenly God through the whole ceremony, but deep down inside I felt like I was levitating through hell. After what felt like an eternity, the ceremony came to an end, and we all went out for a lovely lunch at our family favorite restaurant, Imbros. I devoured my food like a starving child, ending with a baked Alaska. The dessert is something I had never had before, and I just loved it, but it is something that I never have eaten ever since. I had stuffed my poor little body until I literally exploded, vomiting right there at the dinner table down the front of my beautiful white communion dress, which still has the yellow stain to show for it. I then expected to burst into flames and start my journey to hell. So these are stories. These are more, I do some wordplay and also some poetry. This piece is called Ents. Infected with persevering purple pestilence, frequented by complex, peculiar elements, tenacious quest for offbeat excellence, consciously discerning passive indifference, drawn to distinctive non-artificial intelligence, propensity to don't ask, won't know events, inclined towards averting earthly irrelevance, full of insightful mind-probing precedents, daily ventures in bring-to-light social experiments, derived cup of tea conversational developments, occasionally wearing hats of strange elephants, dodging impulse control diagnostic impediments, turn to inside-out lunar nature temperaments, inclined towards taking needless measurements, affluent in unplanned vital embarrassments, living in a faux pauper impersonator of decadence, having quick-witted melodic magnetic resonance, burdened with venturesome prone genetic inheritance, tempered with habitually filled dark-poled negligence. Actually, since Bill mentioned something, Bill, that's okay. He mentioned spiders earlier, so I was thinking about a spider bit me one night in my bed. And I was actually a little perturbed by that and annoyed and kind of creeped out because I don't like spiders in my bed. But I decided to make something more positive out of it. It is a creature that we detest, but we love. We should love because it has good positive connotations in our life as well.
Name one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I can't disagree with that. I think those centipedes are worse. I hate those even more. So this is called spider bite. Artful arachnid, masterful weaver of intricate webs with effortless grace. Breastbone biting, green pus urging, spouting fountain, heart shocker purging. Striving to survive, stay alive in dreams that summon spider spirit guides. Web alert, twangs, stuck in past, jumping forward, fight and flight. Make room for personal power webs, energetic exchanges of self-expression. Broken strands, stagnant energy, hinder goals, lessons vanish. Old ghost threads reveal hidden fear, jump bravely into impossible. Webs of deceit, departed bring clarity, urging awareness, heal hidden traumas. Broken filaments taken down, tears repaired, begin again. Web's energy, unlocked potential, moves chaotic soul into spiritual order. Disentanglement draws everything we need, pushes us forward to seed soul's purpose. This is called Born Again. Mortal vessels morph back to your original burnt offering charcoal creations, continuing the cycle of evolutionary transformation. Something liberating living large in a narrow world of impotent inceptions, conceptualized birth canal extrusions. Reincarnate entitles born, I will start that again. Reincarnate entities born into a world of shock, anger, pain, and grief? Sure. Yeah, I think maybe.
Please.
If there's
Thank you.
somebody up there.
Thank you.
Just make sure that it's not wrong. Sometimes the you can turn the handle, but if it's pushed in and locked, then like make sure that it's not locked.
From the outside.
Is it locked? So you have to pull that
Here.
the push
No,
lock out.
it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So it's better for the ladies to read without all this
Exactly,
distraction.
thank you.
I suppose everybody's here that's going to be here now anyway, so. I'll start again with Born Again. Mortal vessels morph back to original burnt offering charcoal creations, continuing the cycle of evolutionary transformation. Something liberating living large in a narrow world of impotent inceptions, conceptualized birth canal extrusions. Reincarnate entities born into a world of shock, anger, pain, and grief, roaming endlessly, searching desperately for synthesized opiate relief. Bartering, bargaining, we think with angels, only to be black dog swallowed and spit back again. A regurgitation that readies us once again for further self-reflection. This is called 17. She looked in the mirror, saw not a trace of her common, familiar face. Rubbed her eyes hard, in disturbed disbelief, wishing they'd focus, show some sort of relief. So very intently she wriggled her ears, yet saw no movement in that hushed, empty mirror. In between those invisible cheeks, she moved her lips in silent speak, stuck her tongue, moved it about, stuck out her tongue, moved it about, but to her dismay, she saw nothing poke out. She ran her fingers through her long brown hair, but still in that mirror, she saw nothing there. There were those days she felt quite divisible, but today was the day she became totally invisible. Mother, she asked, I can't find connection to myself anymore. Where is my reflection? Then, just like that, without a care, a response came that could cut the air. Mother replied, you are invisible because you are weak, you're a stupid girl, was her heartless critique. With that remark, mirror then shattered, a million pieces distantly scattered. Room spun around, those words she said, splintered her mind, echoed through her head. Broken, battered, bruised by the callous rejection, she hung her head in downcast rejection. As the years went by, wandering through life as if under a spell, held captive in some kind of find-me hell, gazed into pools that rain left behind, but her mislaid facade she could not find. Walking past windows and shops everywhere, she would turn to see if her image arose there. Spent a long time, searched every place to put back together her looking-glass face. It took many years of dogged persistence until slowly there appeared some signs of existence. Echoes of self came into view, some hidden there, and some made anew. A once disappeared came back to life after many years of unceasing strife. And there you have it. She now makes birthdays a time of rebirth, with all in between it that is filled with new worth. This is very strange. I'll just mention to you, I have hand tremors that I never used to have before as I've been aging. So it's really strange for me to be holding these papers comfortably. So I hope it, I don't know, it's kind of weird feeling I'm having. Changes, aging. This piece is called Onyx Oblivion. In a vacant, voiceless void kind of somewhere, crouching there in silent sound, Unwant cowers in convex corners, shrouded in a stark, pitch-dark surround. A paradox living, no, dying in this cavity. A bleak chamber filled with scores and scores of padlocked, never-opened doors. Bound by shadowy black slate walls, painted with white-chalked screaming scrawls, foreshadowing a life of eternal damnation, sealed in what feels like infinite isolation, in the end, and most grievously, leading to a myriad unceasing thoughts of total annihilation. In this lightless shadow, a vacant-eyed familial black dog sits rooted in onyx oblivion. Wounded spirit, held fast in a quagmire of abject neglect. Famished beast's inky tongue yearns for spiritual cleansing of bequeathed sins. A wine-washed wafer host blessed by a self-flagellating priest, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Drenched in outcast, wretched stench. Unconditional love ultimately unquenched. This forsaken soul destined to swallow years and years of nothing but bottomless pools of abandonment-soaked, bitter, salty tears, while perpetually falling into deep pits of pitiable loneliness. Close my eyes, visualize, search all through that joyless place till finally comes into view your forgotten white, your waxen white forgotten place. In that moment, I see a spark in that home of deepest dark, where I know no light of day has ever found its way. Loving arms reach inside, far deep down where you do hide. My hand to yours, I pass a key that will at long last set you free. It opens windows, unlocks doors, and more, and more, and more, and more. Hold on tight, I'll pull you through. Breathe in that light that has forever eluded you. Enough? Go? More? Longer? More? And I'm not sure about timing.
How many more are you going to do?
I don't have to do many more. So I don't know. What?
Do what you need to do.
Oh, I have a lot, but I won't do all of them though.
How many readers are there today? Just
There's
3?
6.
6 readers?
6.
Oh, okay.
6, yeah. No, if you're good, I can stop there.
Don't look at me,
Oh,
because I'm really delighted listening to you.
okay, all right, I'm, okay.
2 more.
2 more? Okay.
Yes.
Well, those are
Michael,
long
the final
pieces,
word.
so, what's that? Oh, okay. So let me just, I have a couple of ones that I'll do this one and just for a little bit of levity. I'll do this one. This one's called Fractal Flashbacks, so I'm an old hippie child. I think you may be too as well, I'm sure. Yeah.
And Suzette, please look in.
Okay. It's called Fractal Flashbacks. Pink lemonade Lennon sunglasses, boutique bohemian fluorescent tie-dyed shirts, floral gypsy peasant skirts, burnt bra liberated pink nipples peeking through gauzy cotton blouses, Jesus boots hidden by 2 long bell-bottom jeans embroidered with fluorescent mandala flowers blowing in the wind of a new age curved air breeze. Mad as a hatter mind etchings, mental scribblings made bendable by paisley purple microdot. Shapes begin to mutate, forming fractal flashbacks. Phantasmagorical demonstrations of peace lilies open one after the other as time-lapse before your eyes. Sun's rays radiate in marmalade skies, washing over you like shoreline waves on a transcendental beach filled with hourglass sand. Your astral projection floats above the place where you sleep. It can see that you dream of free love that drips from your long karmic fingertips. Crashing into patchouli-filled blacklight bistros where vinyl recordings skip along in hypnotic, exotic, synthesized sequences. Tripped out flower children, eyes closed, whirl around, high on musical grooves, getting farther out with every sound. That was me. That is so me. This one is called Bonkers, Mashers, Poppers, and Tonks. Does anybody know what those are?
I don't know what poppers are.
Geese.
Tell me.
I know
Is it drug related? No.
Geese.
Huh?
Aren't they geese, honkers?
Oh, well, maybe.
Ah.
So
Oh, not
Bonkers,
geese? Oh.
Mashers, Poppers, and Tonks.
They go like this.
No. You'll figure it out as I go along. It kind of dates me a bit, I guess, because that's what one of the things we used to play when we were kids. I lost my marbles long time ago, where they went I do not know. Could you help me find them, please, to finally breathe and be at ease? You see them there, I know you do, in your mind's eye, red, green, and blue. They're rolling round some distant place between two worlds in outer space. In darkness there, I know they lay, do shine a torch to light their way. Bring them home to the seeking soul, whose peculiar mind those marbles make whole. Thank you. I have not read since the...
Oh, you're done?
Oh, well, he said tomorrow, so it was tomorrow. That's okay.
Oh, sorry, I was
Not a problem.
spaced out, thank you.
I haven't read since before the pandemic.
Will
So
you
that was
allow
kind of-
us to applaud you now?
Absolutely.
Please. In my opinion, your writing is the reason that we do these readings, I think. It's so wonderful to hear what you feel, what you think, what your life's experiences are. So thank you so very much, Vicki, for doing that. So our third reader is so special to me. He wants me to tell you he's my best friend. Well, my best friend came here one day and recorded me singing. And this wonderful book, you can hear what Marty and I did with this QR code. Remember that afternoon we were right there? And so this is because of you. It was launched all over Southern Ontario, but I went to Hamilton last month, and you could hear it on the big screen. It was just amazing. So thank you. Our wonderful friend and community member, Marty Smith, is a videographer, a poet, a blogger, a painter, and as you said, grandfather, father, many things, community member, and my best friend, Marty Smith.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm a self-published poet. I have a chapbook, Sophia's Dream, and I publish a journal online on Substack called Passionate Creation, where I post autobiographical stories, poetry, and put up video of my painting and painting experience. So today I just have a couple short pieces to share. And Kensington Market Redux. It used to be, when I first moved there, Baldwin Street was busy at 6 a.m. with workers unloading trucks from all over, but mostly the Ontario Food Terminal. It used to be, when I first moved there, Baldwin Street was busy at 6 a.m. with punks and ne'er-do-wells sitting on the sidewalk in front of the cafes, complaining about the rents sorry, I lost my place. It used to be when I first moved there, Baldwin Street was busy at 6 a.m. with punks and ne'er-do-wells sitting on the sidewalk in front of the cafes. After closing the booze cans, complaining about the rents. This market is being gentrified, they'd say. We'll all be in Parkdale, they'd say. Just like Yorkville, they'd say. Most of the punks lived on Kensington Avenue in cramped basements or second-floor flats. Some of the houses are quite large there with 4 bedrooms and a kitchen on the second floor. At 7 a.m., the cafes opened and the sidewalk complaining moved indoors for breakfast. It used to be when I first moved there. Baldwin Street was busy at 6 a.m. From 9 to 10, the workers invaded the cafe on break, a quick coffee and smoke, then back to the stores to unload trucks, set up the sidewalk displays, the shoppers already in their way, the punks headed home. It used to be when I first moved there, Augusta Avenue was busy at 10 a.m. Trucks lined both sides of the street, unloading furniture, appliances, linens, and threads. There were a few grocery stores there selling imported foods for the nearby residents and workers who came from Europe, Italy, Portugal, South Africa, and Israel. The egg store just sold eggs. Nuts make the world go round, sold nuts, coffees, candies. The children lined up there at 8 a.m. on their way to school. The nut lady from Romania sold coffees, nuts, candies, and oils. I used to go there for my Cuban coffee I like to brew at home. It used to be when I first moved there, the shoppers lined up at 11 a.m., chatting neighborhood gossip, soccer scores, and their children's school projects. It used to be. The punks complaining did come true. The market rents did soar, just not so overnight. 3 decades, a little more. The 90s were dominated with artists and musicians. On afternoons, they'd occupy the corners, singing and painting in the customer's way. The shoppers on their second flood, all residents and school kids on their way home from the day's work. They hurried and complained, but the nights were wild. The stores closed at 6, some 7. Then the cafes filled up quite early with artists, musicians, and the songs began to play. The beer began to flow. The kitchen roared. The patrons shouted, more beer, more burgers, more fries. Another shot here, another shot here. That was the 90s. The punks still here, the artists too. Bust the crowded sidewalks, but shoppers there are few. The stores now all are nightclubs on Augusta Avenue. The canopies came down, the grand patios fill up with spenders who come from out of town. The punks complaining did come true. The market rents did soar, just not so overnight. 3 decades, a little more. But still I love the market, the noise and all the clubs. I like to watch the tourists. I like the crowds at night. I like the music melding from place to place along my walks, my dog's nightly walks. We stroll along the sidewalk. We stop so she can pee at almost every tree. Almost every tree. I get the shit, I tell you. Okay, this, a couple of short ones here. In time I wear out. Some may say the spirit has abandoned this place, those regions where jungles disappear. But to be discounts the human assault on the creation. Even where in battle, burned and snuffed in turmoil and ruins, the wounded did not inflict their own suffering. They endure it. Real suffering is all about. And the talk of powers and people killing and injustice at every turn is such a roar. The cry rising from the people has become so simple it is just one word. Stop! Sorry. Stop destroying heaven. It is too difficult to share heaven with every other creature when just a few have all the creature comforts. Carry the vision if you are one who holds it, walking around bringing the feast. I fret and struggle to shout a message of joy. My children look away, and I become the leader of furniture. In time I wear out, radiation blasting apart the chemical bonds of our complex relationships. One more. Thank you. A quiet witness. A squirrel chatters, a crow calls. Who could want more? The moss on the rock knows more than the witness. The water flows around that rock. At daylight's end, a pause between respite and rest allows for dreaming of a finished work, another harvest. At least the vocation of a poet is pleasant. Few people are privileged to sit beside a stream and write poems, all for naught. Well, for the water and the goats to munch as well. Where is the muse in turmoil when at a total state of dis-ease? I hear not a sound, not a tumble, not a roar, nothing. Oh, I lost my page. Sorry. A fact so disconcerting, I wonder at the dis-ease, even turn my ear to that quiet place and gaze there. It may even be an ease itself, or by some rational thought, sort out a noise. It is an oddity, I know, and not much value to find stimulation in staring at a leaf through its several seasons and wonder of the work it is and marvel it turns sunlight into food. Now that's cold fusion. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. I do have a couple copies if you'd like this.
Thank you so much, Marty, for that and for all you do.
Thank you.
He's an artist. His beautiful work sometimes is on our walls, which it currently is. So these paintings are Jon Vlahos, and he has stories, he has poetry. He's just the kind of person that you want your kids to study with. So let me just finish saying that, and we're just so happy, John, that that you found us and that you're part of this.
I'm so happy too.
John Vlahos. So if you need me, I'm right there.
I'm going to need your help now.
Now,
We might as well
okay.
start and get it over with,
Okay.
you know. This is what you read.
Yes.
So,
Are you
as I thought of my dear mother's death,
going anywhere today?
as I thought of my cruel father,
Because I wanted to tell you about
as I remembered my childhood nightmares,
how concerned I am for you.
as I reminisced the last time I held hands with my grandfather strolling down the dirt path.
And that you're not looking well.
But how I loved him with all my heart, to be able to walk with him again down the dirt path. Thank you so much for helping me on that one.
My pleasure.
That's all I needed was somebody's assistance. That's all. It was of heavy minds, hiding beneath blankets. It was smothering a brilliance that defied gravity, as if Plato had said it, or the Marx Brothers. And what was not said could not unknot the not said, or defy all the atoms in the face of beauty, or manage an arm's length to witness the smothering of brilliance in the hiding of the heavy minds. I am from home repair and need the fixing of an arm's length widow's heart to take away the pain and disappointment, the empty-hearted heart transfixed to a single tear that may hang suspended down her cheek forever. This of it of things, of it this thing, of it of this of other things, this other of things and of other things of things it for other things and other of it, the other of another thing, the other to another of the other thing, of it this of and to for it another, for the other of another it. Mr. Withershins devised a plan of shirts cropping, tool-beating preposterousness, simultaneous vowels of extinct metaphors, taming little moments of drizzle and decay. Mr. Withershins looked up to see a drama unfolding, a wither and shins moment, exclaiming that he could not get there in time, in any time sojourning to a promised land. It was Withershins who moved an army of forks and spoons to defeat the knives thrown at him. It was Withershins that shook the world around him, marking the hour with a check mark on his calendar, and slowly slid into the torpor of grace and equanimity. The plan of ruin disgraced them all, a gold moment of seconds sacrificed in the ethereal halls of loneliness. Blowpipe sifting the wind, the gossamer intent posing creation disturbing a value of rot. Thought it out to say of which intent deserves the thought, making it out of reeds and mud to produce a god. Send me your whisper, a bland idea of old shoes and whittled pieces of wood. It serves the purpose of the old days. Then it ups the right and around, a few terms of endearment in the letter to crease the meaning that hurts so much. A bitterness flies through the heart and plucks a pain for sorrow. What placement of beauty is replaced by receptacles, onions, and stones? A gone beauty, a twisting intent, the turning of my body to a song. The air has diamonds floating in it, an absurd travesty of blinding beauty to erase the flaw. Clasp the meaning to my heart like a pendant, and choose to walk me down dirt paths. The sheep are waiting. The emerald lizard is flicking its tail. The ancient olive trees turn to face me and speak Greek. There is a song in the air, a dirge about a forgotten time. Some poem, they say, that speaks of beauty walking on onions and stones. There's a memory that visits me, a terse moment of expression basking in the light of the next moment, beauty floating, speaking and twisting, thrown into receptacles, beauty devising a course of action to stay still, beauty darkening her face so you will not faint at her beauty. The remarkable of tangerines, an exaltation, a light bathing my face, singing coming from the sky, a choosing of choice, a sincerity stretching out its hand, a propensity, a sequestered moment of obedience, alarming the alarms, a posthumous turn screw forming in my heart, like a poem just being written to describe a descending and ascending dream, of boundless space expanding to infinity, of flying, going back home, remembering a marvelous beginning and arriving, a perfect place of excellence to move with ease and temper the blows of life with a feather. I am coming to you now, and you are coming to me, as we move with ease, as we do the now of yesterday, while the tomorrow of the next day becomes 8:30, a multiplication of minutes, the counting of seconds, which move like eons, a syncretism of details, drawing up a blueprint for tangerines. A light is bathing my face. I don't know how many more.
I think Michael should decide.
So I'm the asshole.
I guess one more.
Two more. Oh,
Three more. Two more, Michael? Thank you.
Three more?
There you go, the boss speaks.
I'm not the boss.
Dealing with antique thought, Sappho said, the elk is imploding into 1,000,000 stars, and hands are covering the sky. She said, worlds exist to form vowels, commas, and asterisks. Their throats, bloodstones, and paraphernalia. She said, words like mouthed jewels, the hour of hours, to divulge a secret spun out of the webs of spiders. She said she saw platitudes written on walls like guardians to some hidden realm. She said she knew the why, she knew the when and the where of things. Forks were struck so we could hear her consonances. Everlasting songs fascinated by the dribbling of an old man, a citation from an ancient dirge, the ultimate sounds of rest.
Can I just pause you for a second? You're reading, right?
Yes.
How many poems are you reading? 'Cause
4.
we still have an hour to kill, so
We do?
yeah.
Why?
Because it's not even 5. It's not even 4 yet. I mean, here's a 5. Are we not?
Yes.
We
So
are?
we have an hour. Here we go. So if you want to read more, then you can read more. And if you want to read again something, you can. Still a good time.
I have to leave at 4:30.
That's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Continue, ma'am.
Okay. A decomposed rag embossed in gold. The plenty of it shimmers in my face as I look at it. It disentangles my plurality like a golden crown. It heaves words at me and lashes them across my back. I am embossed in gold, and wisdom showers on everything like manna to reclaim an infinitesimal value, a receptacle, a lucent plot of cruel. A particular rhyme of dribbling words, thrashing in my heart and crashing to my center. Stoning the house of mutilations, or crenellations of the mind to suffer as it does, the mute mouse listening, and goes on about cutting arms and nailing feet to the ground. It's hard and severe and cutting edge that wires it to its own self while flagrantly appearing as a pharaoh. The pheasant transformed into an elk as it rose high in the air. But when the elk touched the ground, it turned into a man. The man walked the earth and saw an eagle until it changed into one. And the eagle saw a bull and became the bull. The bull ran furiously through the forest until it came to a clearing. There it saw a little girl collecting daisies. It touched his heart to see her with flowers, and he wished to become the little girl. He was reshaped and became her. And now it was the pheasant, and the elk, and the man, and the eagle, and the bull, and the little girl that all picked flowers. When we say of saying, the said is said to say so many things in the same. When we say what we say, we have already said it. A mighty say of saying to barter with a said thing. And so, saying of said thing, we say what we say about it, but never really say anything. Of saying just to say, a thing says it all, doesn't it? I'm saying the said thing because it says it all to me. An inscribed wall of bas-reliefs of said things, from so much saying nothingness over and over again. Wrestling with your decisions and your doubts about them, wrestling with your ego and the voice in your head and the passion in your heart about what someone said about you. It is trying to concentrate while your mind wanders somewhere else and your hand is left abandoned, moving. You look at it and hate it and rub it all off to start again. It never manages to capture that light you see in your mind, that brilliant idea, that observation, the dirge you hear in the background, the face you see, and oh, if only one could capture the look in those eyes and the soft light in them, the light in them, and the mystery. Give a chance for someone else to read a little more.
Read one more and then Henry can go.
Let it wake us up, this light, this enlightenment, this palpable thrust of screaming walls, void in the wisdom of blood, the word be cast of words and golden nuggets to form a bastion of forgetfulness. A theme of fingers pointing, daggers, flayed people in the recipe to open the eyes that are sleeping. We turn to a true sense of being when we remember and not close our minds, leaping through walls. Awake in the sleep of forgetfulness to remember.
Very good. Thank you, John. Thank you for
Also read some more.
I'm just staring at your beautiful painting and just thinking, oh, being cooled by that exquisite water. Anyway, even though he is the last, he's definitely not the least. But before we get to Henry, I just wanted to tell all of you, this is Michael Cobb, who really you deserve so much appreciation for everything you do for this gallery and for the people who come here. And David Roach, wonderful performer, Martin Owen, painter, Yogi Henry, you've met Marty Smith, and Tyler, your sensitivity and your support is invaluable. And you've already met the wonderful N. Everybody, this is artist, thinker, poet, just brilliant woman, Elaine Stewart. Yes, you are. We all know our national treasure. Next to him is Chad Juriand, also a great support for the Secret Handshake. And you've met Vicki and Jon. So now, I mean, for me, introducing Henry is so personally gratifying. Henry got me into Luminauto. Henry is just one of those thinkers and underrated, really, videographers. Your eye is just exquisite, Henry. When you're around, the document is incredible. So, I mean, before I get too mushy or whatever, just say thank you for being here, and please regale us further with what you do and think and say.
Thank you,
Henry
honey.
Martinuk.
Yay.
So all these pieces today are pretty much centered around this location, within a mile or 2 miles of here, more or less. We'll see little divergences, but you'll get the idea. Okay, the first one is called Dancing with My Dad. The drummers called out an All Nations at the opening of Ontario Place, and my dad wanted to dance, the round dance. He never danced. My father was already retired from his post office job, and I always thought he was old, too old to dance, play games, or have fun. The joy in his eyes surprised me. He smiled as we shuffled onto the forum floor and joined the circle. 50 years later, I learned from my cousins the reason why my dad needed to dance. When he was a young farm boy, 50 years before the opening of Ontario Place, the family homestead was one of the Cree routes where generations went south on the prairies through the rocky land before it was Saskatchewan. Every year there would be a migration by the farm, and the Cree would encamp nearby, so my father would bring water for the horses. The women gave him a pair of beautiful beaded moccasins in appreciation for the water, and my dad never forgot. So there we go. The two Mr. Bowies. There was Dominic, Luigi, Frank, and me, the Inglesi, as their mothers called me. There was no point in arguing once they heard me speak. The four of us would walk to school, King Eddie, senior, for grades 7 and 8. A time of changes, so many changes. We would talk a lot since it was a long, long way, and discuss TV shows, hockey, and religion, figuring out what our parents didn't tell us. On a warm spring day, we were walking south on Bathurst Street after school and saw our music teacher far up ahead. Mr. Bowie taught music and chose a wide selection of music to sing in class. It was only in retrospect that I understood how cool he was. He assigned Canadian songs like Early Morning Rain and protest songs like We Shall Overcome and the entire rock opera Jesus Christ Superstar. At the time, we were obsessed with puberty and the mysteries that were growing. It was that momentous occasion where the boys and the girls were separated and the basics conveyed. Returning to class, the girls were freaked out and we wanted to know why. During this time, David Bowie was in the news. I remember his Space Odyssey from a few years back, and loving everything space. I was paying attention. The news reported that Frank Sinatra had contemptuously dismissed Bowie as faggot rock. The lines were drawn. I still won't listen to Sinatra. He represented everything that had to be upset, and David Bowie was the sexual voyeur. In the leap of our imaginations, we would wonder if our Mr. Bowie was gay. His mannerisms were the clues, and we tried to put the pieces together. We watched him far up ahead as he swished his way happily down the street, and we speculated. Mr. Bowie stopped and waited, but we caught up to him on Bathurst Street. He had heard us and smiled at us as we nervously waited to be yelled at. Mr. Bowie just said, "I'm a hedonist," and left us standing on Bathurst Street. This is for somebody who just died earlier on this month. I went to his visitation, so this is from the funeral home. This is called Stephen Mitchell Leckie. The dog is dead, hardly a sympathetic figure, but significant nevertheless. In the bloated music of the early 70s, youth were looking for more joy, more fun, more dancing. I would see the leather jackets with the vile tones scrawled on the back around downtown and at concerts. The summer of '77 led to the crash and burn, and my first club that I wasn't kicked out of for being underage. Absolute freedom and beer. the bands letting loose, and the crowd in direct concert. When I actually got to see the Viletones, they were very raw, but made up to it in attitude. Pure punk with all the rage of youth, from the singer Nazi Dog. It was a different time, so I'll explain. We grew up in the wake of the war. Our parents' generation had defeated the Nazis, and we only knew the enemy through comics and action movies, playing with plastic toy soldiers in the dirt. In our callous humor and attempts to shock and outrage, the swastika was only a symbol and nothing to be feared. Sure, there was the ridiculous Western Front, but those idiots were laughed at. It was hard to take them serious. After all, my schools were diverse with Italians, Chinese, Jamaicans, and everything else. Hate was not on the agenda. But there was Nazi Dog on stage wearing a swastika on his ripped t-shirts, spouting who cares what. Shut up and dance! Anyways, the newspapers and TV news focused on the sensational aspects and helped shape the public perception. The crash and burn crowd was not into violence, and if someone fell while dancing, he would be picked up, dusted off, no harm done. However, the next year, negative publicity, thanks to the media, things became dangerous. The Blake Street Boys started going to the Horseshoe and Exile on Main Street to see the Viletones and start fights. Suburban disco boys would taunt punks outside the Turning Point, and Skitty Nazi Dog was reveling in his disrepute, as long as the Blake Street Boys were nearby to bloody a few faces. Reality would shut him up soon enough, when the Jewish Defense League made it clear that no one was laughing at his juvenile jokes. So Nazi Dog recanted and dropped his nom de punk. The Viletones carried on but lost Freddie and Chris to the Secrets and went rockabilly. I never liked the trappings of rockabilly and its prominent use of the bars and stars, another lost cause for losers. The Dog was long dead, and now Stephen Lucky too. I think I have one more. And this is done in the manner of a sermon. I loved the Reverend in our church. She was amazing. She would give great sermons, and even though I was a kid, I would come up from the Sunday school just to listen to her sermon, because she was so dynamic and so wonderful. So, this is a tribute to Reverend Way, my old spiritual leader at the time. Okay, this is called the Strummer Sermon. The future is unwritten, saith the Clash. Born in the land of the Hittites, later the Ottomans, lastly the Turks. His father was a diplomat, and the country was strategic. NATO missiles based close to the evil empire, and the constant threat of thermonuclear Armageddon. England had won the war but lost the peace, and austerity diminished the land. Large areas bombed remained, and sites became playgrounds. Young John took to the road like his hero Woody Guthrie and adopted his name with a plywood guitar. Traveling past Stonehenge, he would visit friends in Wales and hitch back to London to a squat numbered 101. Freezing in the cold, the squatters formed a band, and because there was no work and the dole kept them alive. Bubbling underground was discontent with the rock dinosaurs that noodled and pontificated. Oh, where was the joy of youth? Teenage dreams of playing relevant music spurred amateurs to take a chance on making something of their own. Woody was playing in the 101ers, in shitty pubs, but he stood out with verve and passion. Bernie Rhodes was looking for talent to join with his two young protégés, and John fit the bill. So he was approached in the dole queue. John became Joe Strummer after the way he played guitar, and the Clash was born. The future is unwritten. Know your rights, saith the Clash. And that's it.
That was wonderful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's genuinely wonderful, Henry.
Yeah, wonderful.
That's very good, Henry.
Thank you, everybody, for coming here, being here. To my knowledge, this is the last of this kind of season. I think, don't quote me, that Bill's having a holiday on Tuesday, but then the Secret Handshake is usually open on Tuesdays because Bill sits, you know, manning the gallery. And unless I'm told otherwise, there's really no other event until the end of September. Is that right, when we have our next reading? Is that right?
I think that's right.
Okay,
Is
so
that
the
right?
end of September is the next time we're having an event. It's 100,000 poets in the name of change. So again, you'll get the information from Bill, who is so good about that. Please have a wonderful summer, a healthy, safe, exciting, and fulfilling summer, and see you on the streets and in the galleries and wherever else. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you. Bill, always.
So is the